We should hire a live DJ to play the podcast
I'd love that.
in the back, and we don't really acknowledge him. He's just constantly, like, lightly in the background switching the beats and doing drops as we're talking. Hey, everybody. My name's Chris Warren.
My name is Matt Lopes.
Welcome to the You Should Be Worried podcast.
Hey, Chris is back, baby. Chris is back. Let's go. Let's go. Hit the fucking buttons. Yeah, I lost my voice. Who gives a fuck? Hit the buttons. Hit the fucking button. Chris is back. He's fucking back.
Matt was so excited when he saw me for the first time. He picked me up from the airport, and he screamed so loud that his voice left him, and airport security had to talk to him for 4 hours.
Yes,
they
it was so bad.
Bomb.
My voice, I was too loud, and they had to call the cops because they thought that it was a tornado warning. It was really just me so happy to see my boy Chris.
Matt just sirened out. He was like,
there's that guy on Instagram who goes, yeah. You know that guy?
And Matt did that. And they told
he calls it sirening.
Did they even tell you about the weather?
What?
Is that the guy who does that and then he tells you about the weather?
That'd be funny.
He's like, it's going to be 32 degrees in Cleveland today.
Oh, that guy with the buck teeth.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I lost my voice again, which means that obviously I can't yell, but also it does mean I'm not sexy right now.
Kind of raspy. I like it,
you know?
Dude. It's like James Bond.
That's always the key thing, you know? Being sexy, having a raspy voice is always sexy.
Always.
Unless you're who?
No, honestly, women with a raspy voice, like women who sound like they've been smoking for 50 years, but just they were born that way. Like I knew a girl in college when I was at Syracuse.
Yeah.
Shouts out, Sam, if you're watching this, hit me up. But she was like, we were in college freshman year, and she's like 18, and she just had a voice that sounded like she smoked cigarettes for 50 years.
Okay.
And I asked her about it, and she's like, no, I had some like throat infection when I was a little kid, and this is how I sound now.
So it wasn't, she wasn't born.
But dude, it was hot.
It was hot?
It was hot.
That's what it is. I don't know what it is. Like
It's
like being in high school and then having another high schooler that you're physically attracted to, and then they talk to you and they sound kind of like a boy.
She would
kind of double the sexy.
She would be like, Chris, we're all going to the dining hall. Do you want to come with us? And I'd be
Do
like,
you want to come with us to the dining hall?
Yeah.
And you're like,
I was like, I got to change my pants first. But
sorry,
then,
I already came.
And then also she had a boy's name, which was cool. Honestly, I think I just want to fuck men that have smoked too many cigarettes. Just small men.
Men with tits.
Men with tits who smoked cigarettes for 100 years.
It's so good that you're back.
I'm back from Scotland. Came back from the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. A successful run.
Dude. You had a good time out there?
So good,
Best time, huh?
Yeah, any comics listening, you should go to Fringe. It's great.
You should spend a lot of your money going.
You should spend all your money and recoup very little of it and come home and be late to the podcast because you were making ramen because that's all you can eat for the next month.
When you were out there, were you also spending frugally too? Like
yes.
You were only spending on what you absolutely needed?
Yeah.
How was the Iron Brew out there? I saw your video about Iron Brew.
Dude, Iron Brew sucks. Everyone in Scotland was telling me how good Iron Brew was, and eventually what got me to try it is like there was this girl that was flying with us.
Okay.
And she was like this cute like alt girl.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, Christopher, you got to try the Iron." Which also, by the way, coolest shit ever. If you're like just a hot chick in your 20s and then you sound like Shrek, didn't know I was in that. Oh, Christopher, you got to try the Iron Brew. It's so good.
No way.
It's delicious, Chris. You got to have it.
You fuck with it?
And I was like, okay.
I'll do anything you ask.
Whatever you want. And so I got Iron Brew. And it's bright orange.
Okay.
Comes in like bottles and it's bright orange, so it looks like Fanta. You're thinking like, oh, this could be like a delicious citrus drink, right? Like orange or mango or something.
For those who don't know what Iron Brew is, it's a drink.
Oh yeah, so Iron Brew is Scotland's national drink.
Yeah, okay.
It's officially their national drink.
It's their official drink?
Everywhere in the world,
yeah.
Every country in the world, if it's a non-alcoholic beverage, the most popular drink is Coca-Cola, except for in a few places it's Pepsi. It's one of those two. The only country in the entire world where it's not one of those two is Scotland.
Holy shit.
And it's Iron Brew there. And so they make it like right in that area, so it's like fresh or whatever. And so I open up this orange drink. It's like a picture of a guy like flexing. That's like their mascot is just this fucking guy made out of iron, just like, yeah. I'm like, hell, he's gonna make me strong. And I drink it, and it tastes like, it should have been black. It should have been, like, pitch black. It should have been thick, syrupy black, like, you know, with shimmers of green and purple. You know, that's what it tastes like. And it's like, it tastes like motor oil. And you drink it, and it tastes like someone mixed used bubble gum with vinegar and just put it in unflavored Coca-Cola water. That's like flat Coca-Cola water.
Fuck.
And that's what it tastes. And everyone's like, isn't it delicious, Chris? Don't you fucking love it? Isn't that the crock right there, mate? Isn't that the best? And I'm like, this is the worst thing I've ever had.
That's so funny.
And I thought maybe, because everyone's like, oh, no, it's an acquired taste. Your weak American palate can't handle it. It's like, first of all, I drink shit like Red 40 Dye every day, which is illegal in your country. You guys can't even handle it with your weak-ass European immune system. And that shit was, I had like 8 or 9 Iron Brews throughout my like month there, and every time I would sip it and be like, this is gross, but I have to finish it.
That's so fucking.
Chris, they don't know you're racking up kidney stones.
Racking up kidney stones. That will not be. I will not have an Iron Brew kidney stone.
I had a question. How many bagpipes you see out there while you were out there?
Dude, they fulfill every stereotype.
They do. They fucking
I think
do?
it's also because it was the festival, so there's so many tourists there to see the festival.
Okay.
So, like, you would go, like, 5 blocks, and there'd just be a guy in the kilt with, like, the weird bearskin hat and, like, military gear with, like, the back, like, and so they play dozens of songs on it. The only one anyone notices is, you know, Scotland the Brave, that, like, classic military song.
Yeah.
And Amazing Grace.
Fuck.
Those are the only 2 you can
They're playing
recognize.
that out in Scotland.
Every fucking day you hear those 2 songs. And occasionally they'll play other songs on the bagpipes, and it just doesn't sound like anything. It just sounds like noise. It's just like, it's like
They're
jazz.
fulfilling their noise quota
Yeah,
today.
it's like they're playing sloppy jazz on a bagpipe. And they're like, this is the national song of Dundee. The county of Dundee is strong and proud.
Don't you love my tunes?
Don't you love the granite? This song goes out to the granite city of Dundee. And it's like, it's like, would you like to leave money in the hat? And I'm like, I think you should be arrested, is what you should be.
Did you do that accent in any of the shows that while you were out there?
No.
You didn't do it to the Scotland people?
No, I didn't.
Hit them with their own, how they sound?
Well, dude, so the thing is, if you were from Edinburgh, because that's kind of their, like, fancy city, for lack of a better word, that's, like, where all the smart people live. That's where, like, Edinburgh University, like, their version of Yale is. So, like, everyone's, like, high culture artsy there. So they sounded almost English. They had, like, a little bit of a Scottish accent, but not that crazy. Like, you know, you can understand me when I'm talking like this. It's just on some words it goes up. And then you would meet someone from fucking Glasgow or Dundee, like the other 2 big cities, and they'd go, "Aye, what you talking about in the morning? Gotta have a fried Mars bar. Gotta have a fried Mars bar with some Iron Brew." And I'd be like, dude, you are speaking a different language. Get away from me. I'm going to fight you. You're a fucking Klingon. And
Fuck. Is there anything from Scotland that, like, culture-wise, that you think America should adopt that we don't have?
okay, here's what I'll say about Scotland.
Yeah.
God created the UK, that smattering of islands, and then he abandoned it. And he never looked at it. He put it in a drawer, and he never looked at it again. It is a godless, horrible place where everyone has a room temperature IQ and fetal alcohol syndrome.
Holy fuck.
Like, if you've ever watched Lord of the Rings.
Just summed up the whole country.
Yeah. if you've ever watched Lord of the Rings,
That's crazy.
the 2 towers, or no, I think it was in the Fellowship, where they go to Isengard, you know, the big place with the tower.
Yeah.
And they're in those dark mines, those pits, and the Orakai are coming out of the birthing pits. That's how Scottish people were made.
Holy shit.
They're all fucking Urukai, dude. It's insane. They're just like, meat's back on the menu, boys. that's the fucking Scotch. Dude, but I will say about Scotland.
Yeah.
What I will give them, because people talk shit about how women in the UK are gross. And listen, no offense. English women, you could tell who the English women were. It was rough. It was like, oof.
Okay.
Scottish women, though? Kind of baddies.
Yeah.
Kind of baddies. Because, you know, we've discussed this on the podcast, that I have a type.
Yeah.
And it's women that, I think you put it perfectly, women that are ugly in the hottest way possible.
Yeah, exactly.
That is every Scottish woman.
Which usually means rack, big nose.
Yeah. Every woman was fucking stacked.
Yeah.
And they had huge noses and looked gawky as fuck. And also, I don't know what's going on over there, but everyone is alter goth. Every single woman's like in fishnets with Doc Martens on. Everyone's got like bangs and nose rings and tattoos. It's like literally a good 70%.
Shit.
Any woman under 30, like a good 70% of them were fucking goth or alt or punk or whatever.
Fuck.
Like there was no normal dressed woman. I was like, I am in heaven.
Yeah.
All these women are ugly enough that they would talk to me, but I would also marry them.
Yeah.
I'm in heaven. This is great.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Did anything happen like while you were out there? Did you get any pussy? Did you
No,
relapse?
I did nothing like that. No.
How are the synagogues out there? Did you end up going?
Oh, so I did. So I went to what's called a Chabad house.
Okay.
Which I think we've talked about on the podcast. Whereas this group of Orthodox Jews called Chabad Lubavitch.
Yeah.
They set up these things called Chabad houses all over the world.
Yeah.
Because their concept is no Jew should not be able to go to service.
Yeah.
So anywhere there was over a certain amount of Jews, they'll put a Chabad house. In Scotland, I think total has like 6,000 Jews in the whole country.
Yeah.
And so I went to the Chabad house one day, and I was talking to them, and the rabbi had like an American accent. I was like, "Oh, you're from America?" And he's like, "Yeah, we came over here 3 years ago to start this Chabad." And I was like, "Oh, that's really cool. Where in America did you come from?" And he was like, "Oh, New Haven, Connecticut."
Whoa.
I swear to God, the rabbi was
the
from
fuck?
New Haven of all places.
Holy shit.
And then, not to fight stereotypes, we knew mutual people in the Jewish community because we all know each other. And that was pretty cool. Yeah.
That's so cool.
So that was cool.
Chabad is great. I love how they cook the chicken right in front of you.
Yeah, it's cool. They do that.
What were the? You went to AA meetings, right?
Oh, so
What
this
were
is.
those like?
I went to AA meetings in
They're
Scotland.
all drinking iron brew. I'm like, no, this is
Dude,
alcohol.
speaking of iron brew, you would think it's alcohol. I took the first sip and I was like,
should I be real?
I was like, holy, is there this is gross. Is there vodka in this? Because it tastes like there's vodka in it. Like, did I grab the wrong thing? And I asked like the store manager, and he's like, no, man, it's just soda. And then I asked like 3 people like on the street, does this have alcohol in it? And they're like, no, man, Iron Brew's a soda. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, so it just tastes this bad for no reason. Like, I understand if it's like a mixed drink, you got to deal with the vodka and, maybe it's cutting it a little bit.
Right.
It doesn't need to taste like that if there's no alcohol in it. Like, that's just gross. You're just drinking like fucked up mixers. Like, what's going on?
That's so crazy.
But
Chris took a sip and he was like, did I just relapse?
yeah, I was like, oh, what? And dude, so I went to a bunch of AA meetings out there. And so like here in Connecticut, right? In like say the city of Norwalk, where I go to a lot of my meetings. Any given day, there's like 10 or 12 meetings in Norwalk, and you'll see 20, 30 people at each meeting. There's so much recovery, right?
Yeah.
There just is. Edinburgh, which is a city of around 550,000 people.
Okay.
Massive. This is a major, second biggest city in Scotland. It's a big city.
Sick.
There are 4 meetings a day.
Oh no.
There's a morning meeting, an afternoon meeting, and 2 night meetings there at the same time in different parts of the city. There's no more than 4 meetings a day. Most days there's only 3.
How many people were there?
Well, because I'm thinking, right, it's a massive city. There's only 4 meetings. Well, they must be like arenas, right? This must be, because I've been to some of those meetings in New York, where it's like a 200 people in an auditorium, and that's the meeting. So I'm like, it must be like, Manhattan meetings. I go there, 15 guys.
Jesus.
15 guys in a basement. And I was thinking, like, okay, maybe.
Scotland does not give a fuck about its drinking problem.
And I asked them, I was like, oh, is the website missing stuff? Does it need to be updated? Are there other meetings you'd recommend or whatever? And they're like, these are the meetings. What do you mean? And I was like, do you have like young person meetings or like men's meetings, women's meetings, gay meetings? Like, because we have all different kinds of meetings. They're like, no, there's just the meeting. This is the meeting. And I was like, okay. And
that's so crazy.
I think total, there are 60 people in all of Edinburgh that are in AA, and I met all of them in the first week. Because then the second week I would go to these meetings expecting maybe it like rotates out. All the same people. They all knew me.
Jesus Christ.
Like, oh, Chris, good to see you, man.
So for them, it's like, no, this is the meeting, and then you go out and you fucking just don't drink.
Yeah.
In America, we're so babied, and we have like all these different like available kinds of meetings so that you can actually try to find your like specific.
Well, dude, it's also, there's just not enough people to support it. There's like 15, 20 people at all these meetings, and there's 3 meetings a day, so that's 60 people a day go to meetings. Oh, and I got to tell you, because I think our audience needs to know about this, I got to tell you about the Cheese Man.
Who's the Cheese Man?
So throughout the festival, I saw many shows, right? Because there's just shows all day. Most of them are free entry, so I just went to a bunch of them, right?
Yeah.
And there were some great ones. There were some bad ones, like everything. There's like some weird performance art that sucked. There's some good stand-ups, bad stand-ups, good performance art. I saw a fun clown show, which I was surprised about. But the best show I saw, if I could only see one show, the most important thing that happened to me in Edinburgh. Like, I would have given up all my performances if I just got to see this once. That's how influential it was.
No way.
I swear to God. So, I finish a late night show. I'm doing a late night showcase at like, it gets out at like 1 in the morning.
Okay.
And this Scottish comic I had met, Lydia, who is blackout drunk at this time, comes up to me and she's like, Chris, me and Oliver, English comic, shouts out Oliver, me and Oliver are going to see the Cheese Man. You got to come see the Cheese Man, Chris. And I was like, dude, it's like 1:30. I'm going home. She's like, no, you don't understand. You got to see it. And just like literally grabbing and shaking me, saying I have to see the Cheese Man. I'm like, okay, I'll come. Fuck it, I'll come see the Cheese Man. So we walk like 10 blocks from where we were to this bar. And we go up to the front, and it's like 2 in the morning at this point.
Okay.
So all the bars are closing. And the guy's like, oh, sorry, bar's closed. And Lydia just goes, no, we're here to see the Cheese Man. And he goes, oh, okay, this way. And points to like this door that goes into the basement. Like not the actual bar. And I'm like, okay. And so we go into the basement, and there's like this 1920s style movie theater.
Okay.
Like with like very fancy like bench seats and like weird like gas lamp things on the side. But it's like a little movie theater, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe sits like 50 people. And we go sit down. I'm like, what the fuck is it? And she's like, just watch. I promise, just watch. And I'm like, okay. And so we sit there, and this guy comes out on stage, and he's holding up. First, he's doing this weird thing where he's like miming, and he's holding up cue cards
What's
that
he
have.
look like?
He's a little heavier set.
He's a regular man, though?
Yeah, just a regular looking British guy, like a
Okay.
little heavier set, but like pretty normal guy.
Yeah.
And he's holding up cue cards that have like the setup, and then he drops it, and the next thing's a punchline, and then he drops it and goes laughter, and everyone laughs. And so he's doing that for a bit, and I'm like, this is fucking weird. And like weird, like classical music is playing in the background. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And she's like, no, the show hasn't started yet. This is like the
prime.
This is the before show. And I was
Holy
like,
shit.
okay. And then the show starts. And also, by the way, this is not a Fringe show. It's not registered with the Fringe Festival. It's not on.
No.
You can't find it on the website. It's not in any of the booklets. There's no posters for it. There's no ads for it. He doesn't bark for it. He doesn't have flyers. It's just word of mouth. The Cheese Man.
Get the fuck
You
out
know
of here.
about it or you don't. There's no sign for it. You just got to know to tell the bouncer at that bar at that time.
And this
you're
show
here to see the
happens
Cheese
even
Man.
after Fringe Festival, too? Like, throughout the year in
It's
Scotland?
just, no, so apparently this guy doesn't even really do, like, comedy anymore. He, like, used to be a stand-up comic. He just does this. He, like, waits all year to then do the Cheese Man show for, like, however long.
Holy shit.
So it's an off, like, it's technically not allowed because you're not supposed to have shows that aren't Fringe-related during the Fringe. So it's technically an illegal, quote-unquote, whatever that means, show.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, that's, cool. And so then it starts. And he's about to start, and these two guys are, like, drunkenly saying, like, where's the cheese? We were told this is the cheese. He just goes, you need to leave. And they laugh, and he's like, I'm serious. I will not start. He's like, I will not start the show. And he's like, what? He's like, everyone boo them. And everyone goes, boo, boo.
Get the fuck out of here. He has such a hold on, like, the atmosphere.
Because I was like, clearly I was the only person that didn't know what this, because this guy's been doing this for like 10 years. He's like a staple of the Fringe.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I don't know about you guys. I wouldn't want to be in a place where I wasn't welcome. Right, guys? And everyone's like, yeah, get out. And eventually they leave. They like literally just get booed out. And he's like, okay, thank you guys. Now we can start the show. And so what he does is he takes out a big pack of cheese, like huge, like one of those like family packs, like maybe 50 slices in it.
Yeah.
And he's like, today's cheese is smoked Gouda. And everyone goes, because I still have no idea what's going on. I have no idea what's going on. Clearly, everyone else has seen this a million times. So I was like, oh, Gouda, yeah. And he opens the cheese, and he takes the pack, and he like holds it like a deck of cards. And he points to some guy in the front, and he's like, pick a cheese, any cheese. And the guy picks it, and he's like, and he looks away, he's like, show it to the audience. Don't let me see it. And he shows it to the audience, and then he's like, put it back in the deck. The guy puts it, and he shuffles the cheese. And it's like falling apart. Like pizza cheese are going everywhere. And then he goes, okay. And he picks the first slice of cheese, and he goes, I got a pretty good, I got to do his accent. He's like, I got a pretty good feeling that this is your cheese. And then he eats it, pauses for a second, and goes, damn, that wasn't your cheese. And then he proceeds to do that through all like 30 slices or whatever. We're in that big family pack. We're not even there yet. He does through that like it was like probably 30 slices. He does that through 30 slices, and every time the exact same thing. got a pretty good feeling this is your cheese. And then, damn, that wasn't your cheese. And he does that. And then at the end, he eats the last one. He's like, well, that's odd. This has never happened. We didn't find your cheese. Everyone goes, oh, no. Like, they call out. And he goes, but, this is a magic show. Wouldn't it be wild? And then he wheels out a mountain of cheese, like 6 packs, like on this little gold tray. He's like, if I use my magical powers to transfer your cheese to one of these packets. And everyone goes, and then he proceeds.
No.
Then he proceeds to open each packet of cheese one at a time and eat them entirely, doing the same thing. I have a good feeling this is your cheese. And, oh, dang, it's not your cheese. And he does that. However much cheese you're imagining, it's more cheese. Like, this didn't seem like it was physically possible.
He's eating all of this cheese.
And every time he's like, well, I guess it wasn't in that pack. Time for the next one. And it just keeps. And he does this. It's the show.
What's the audience reaction throughout this entire
going
thing?
Fucking nuts. It started at 2:00 with him eating this because we got there before 2, which was the intro show with the signs. He started eating cheese at 2:00. The show ended at 4:35.
Holy shit!
So for 2.5 hours, this man ate cheese slice by slice, and I swear, again, however much cheese you're imagining, it was more. He probably legitimately ate like 300 to 400 individual slices of smoked Gouda cheese.
Smoked Gouda, which is expensive too. And that's not a cheap cheese.
And as it's going on, it's like one of those things where it starts funny, and then you're like, okay, we get it, dude. We get the joke. But then it gets funnier again. And then it reached a certain point where I was hyperventilating and crying, and it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. And by the end of it, dude, he is... and he keeps drinking water to get the cheese down. So he also drinks like 8 massive pints of water to get the cheese down. So this man's stuffed, dude. And he didn't take a break. He didn't go to the bathroom.
No intermission.
No intermission. He's just doing it. And he's just got this really weird playlist in the background, just playing all this like weird fucking music softly as he's going. And he's wearing I forgot to mention, he's wearing a whoopee cushion costume.
Yeah.
So every once in a while he'll burp really loud and then just point like, It's like, because it's like I'm a whoopee cushion. And everyone goes, and dude. So, and towards the end, like the last 40 minutes was the best.
Yeah.
Because the last 40 minutes, he is bright red. Like this man is beet red. He is sweating profusely. Like there's sweat stains like on the whoopee cushion. Like the whoopee cushion costume soaked through.
Yeah.
He's tearing up. Like tears are coming down his face and he is legitimately shaking. Because it's got to be extremely uncomfortable. He's holding the pieces of cheese, shaking. He's like, I really hope to God, by everything I live for, please God, let this be your cheese. And then he would eat it and be like, folks, I have terrible news. That was, in fact, not your cheese. And he's just like, looked so, like he was just struggling.
Oh my God.
And at one point, he like stops for a second while he's opening the next pack and he goes, lots of people bring shows to Fringe and they spend $8,000 on professional marketing teams and flyers and billboards. And they can't even get 10 people in the show every night. They have to cancel nights because they don't have enough audience. I don't tell anyone about this show. I just eat cheese, and I'm sold out every night. I'm not even...
He does this every night?
Yeah, he's like, I'm not even part of the Fringe Festival. And everyone just goes, yeah, indie comedy! And... dude, and then eventually he gets to, like, he's on the last 3 slices of the last pack. Like, this man has eaten 6, like, family-sized packs of cheese at this point.
Okay.
And he's got the last 3, and he takes half, like, eats half of the... third to last cheese, and he like literally starts gagging. And like his nose just starts like, draining, and he's just like, ladies and gentlemen, I have very bad news. I don't think we're gonna find the cheese tonight. I'm sorry. And then he just runs out the back. He sprints out the back, and he wasn't even out there to like shake hands or anything. He clearly went to just like uncontrollably vomit.
Holy fuck.
Like, and
I thought he was gonna, that would have been funny as fuck if that's how he ends the show, by vomiting on the stage.
No, so I looked
people would go crazy.
I looked to Lydia and I was like, what? She's like, yeah, sometimes they don't sometimes they don't find the cheese.
Holy fuck.
It's actually we got very lucky. You got to the last 3 slices. That's pretty good.
Holy shit.
Because I guess he sometimes, he physically can't power through. It's like a special gold star show when he actually is able to finish all the cheese.
Oh,
but like we
fuck.
apparently got really close. Like he was on the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
3 slices of the cheese.
Holy shit.
And then so that was great. Standing ovation. It was amazing. And then I ran into him on the street like 2 days later.
Okay.
Because he's just like, like everyone walking around the festival. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you're the cheese man. He was like, yeah. And very odd dude, but clearly like a genius.
Yeah.
He's like one of those guys where he's not quite in this reality, but he's a genius. And I was talking to him about it. I was like, that was awesome, man. Yeah, this, that, the other thing. And he's like, yeah, last year, I can't do the accent anymore. I'm sorry. Last year, I had to stop on day 14 of the Fringe because I gave myself lactose poisoning. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, I got this horrible rash all over my body. And I went to the doctor and I explained, like, do you think this could have anything to do with like an overconsumption of dairy? And the doctor was like, impossible. He's like, no, but like, how much would you have to have? He's like, I'm not even going to say it because like, it'd be impossible for you to do. He's like, how much? And he said like, I don't know, whatever it was, like, oh, you'd have to eat like 30 grams of cheese a day. It'd be like way too much.
Yeah.
And he did the math and realized that like every night he's eating like 4,000 grams of cheese.
Holy shit.
So, or whatever it was. I'm getting the numbers wrong, but you know what I
No,
mean? It was like
still.
so far apart from each
Yeah,
other.
yeah.
And his doctor's like, we need to send you to the hospital right now. And so he had to go to the hospital and like get charcoal pumped into his stomach and everything because he was literally,
Holy fuck.
because his body was having so much lactose that his body basically made him lactose intolerant all at once and like was rejecting it. He got horrible rashes and sweat and like stomach ulcers. And so he's like, yeah, I'm going to try to make it as far into the Fringe this year as I can before I get lactose poisoning.
Thank you guys so much for watching this week's episode of You Should Be Worried. My name is Matt Lopes. You can find me everywhere at Matty Fucko on all social media platforms. Please also follow Chris Warren at Chris Warren Comedy on all social media platforms. You can find our producer Ben at BennyBoy_28 on Instagram, and follow In the Making ITM on all social media platforms for good sketches. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this video if you enjoyed it. We're very happy to put this podcast out there for you guys, and we really hope that you enjoyed it. Leave a comment about what your favorite part was, and if you want to come and see Cheese Man, we don't know how to get you to him, but we'll fucking try. All right, my name is Matt Lopes. Thank you so much for watching. And Chris?
My name's Chris Warren, guys. It is so great to be back in America. I hate Europe. Europe's gay as hell. They're all a bunch of Uruk-hai. They're fucking orcs from Mount Doom. I love our country so much.
Is that
dude.
you mean Iroquois?
Uruk-hai, they're like the bigger
The
orcs.
Native American group?
No, like in Lord of the Rings,
Okay.
where they got like the white palms on their face.
Iroquois.
Yeah. No, but everyone in Europe is gay, weak, and has a room temperature IQ. America #1, baby. Anyone worth their salt in the world, you saw the shithole country. Your ancestors saw the shithole country you lived in. You looked around and you went, nah, dude, not for me. And you got on a boat or a plane or you ran here and you came to America for a better life for you and your family. We got all the smartest, best people from every country on the world. That's why we're #1. That's why your country sucks.
Yep.
God bless America.
God bless America. Have a great night. We'll see you next week.